To do a T-spin, you need a couple different things. Firstly, you need a T-shaped hole. Secondly, you need both the rows that the T-shaped hole is on to be filled in. And thirdly, you need the overhang. The overhang is just a block that extends over the T-shaped hole. So when I do this, I have all the criteria. I have a T-shaped hole, the two layers where the T-shaped hole is are filled in, and I have the overhang here, which hangs over the T-shaped hole. So once I've done this, I can do the Tetris. Learning all those things can be pretty daunting at first, so I'm going to simplify it. Go to Tetrio Zen, turn the leveling and gravity to off, and the cheese layer to 1. Now look at the hole and try to imagine the T-shape inside of that hole. Next, try to imagine where the overhang would be. If this is the T-shape, the overhang needs to hang over the T. And so we need to fill in either this block or this block here. If we fill in the middle block, we're not going to be able to access any T. So use the S or the Z piece to create the overhang. So I'm going to either put the Z piece here to fill in this square or put it here to fill in this square. Once I've done that, all you need to do is fill in the rest of this layer. Because the T-shaped hole is here, we need to fill in both the layers to get a T-spin double. Okay, and once we're done that, we just take the T-spin. In this next example, we have the hole here. I'm going to imagine the T-shape to be like this. And so that means I need the overhang to be either here or here to hang over the T. So I'm going to use either the S or the Z piece to do that. And then I'm going to take the T-spin. So this example is a bit weirder. How are you meant to make a T-spin if it's on the edge? There's no T-shape that goes off the map. You can actually soft drop it down and do an anti-clockwise spin. And that's a T-spin mini single. On the other side, it would be soft drop it down and do a clockwise spin instead. Finally, in this last example, we have a T-shaped hole here. I need to create an overhang on either this or this square. So I'm going to put an S piece here to fill in this block. I'm going to fill in the rest of the layer with the I piece. And lastly, I have this block to fill in, and I'm not going to fill it in with a T because I need the T for the T-spin. So I'm going to fill it in with the Z instead, and then I'm going to take the T-spin. Now the reason I start with learning that is because if you look at clean garbage, it's basically the exact same thing, we just have an extra 9 layers on top of it. So here you do the exact same exercise, except it's only with the top layer that you do it with. So here's the T-shape. We need the overhang to be either here or here, and then once we're done that, we can fill in the rest of the layer. Or you can fill in the rest of the layer and then do the overhang, it's really up to you. In examples like this, where you see the well here, you see the T-shape on top of the well, and the two layers are already filled in. Well, if the two layers are already filled in, the only thing you need is the overhang. So that means we need to fill in either this block or this block here. And we have a couple ways to do that. We can either do this or this. So back to the very start, I'm going to generalize what we need to make a T-spin. First, we need a hole or a well. Second, we need the columns next to the hole or the well to be on the same level as each other. Because if you think about it, if this column was raised 2 blocks like I'm demonstrating here, this imagined T-shape is going to be destroyed. So to simplify it, we need the pattern of block, hole, block with nothing over it. Once we have that, we can simply just make the overhang and then fill in the rest of the layer. Or you can fill in the layer and then make the overhang afterwards. So here I'm going to be making a 6-3 stack, and remember what I need. I need a hole, I need the 2 stacks next to it to be on the same level as each other, and so once I've done that, I just need to fill in the rest of these 2 layers and create the overhang on either this spot or this spot here. So I'm going to use the Z piece here to create the overhang. Then I take the T-spin. Again, in this example, I can imagine the T-shape because I've got a hole. The 2 stacks next to each other are on the same level. And we also have the pattern of block, hole, block. And so now I just need to make the overhang and fill in the rest of the layer. So I'm going to put this Z piece here, fill in this block, and then take the T-spin. So in a board state like this, how can you get the right conditions for a T-spin? Well, we need a block followed by a hole followed by a block. So it's not here because there's 2 blocks on top. So the columns next to the well need to be on the same level. And in this example, it's pretty hard to do that. So I'm just going to continue building up and hope for the best. Right, so now at this point, both these columns are at the same level as each other. So now I'm going to look to create the overhang, which is either on this block or this block here. And I'm also going to fill in the 2 layers. So I made the overhang here and I've filled in both these layers. Again, let's look at the well and the columns next to it. We need the 2 columns to be on the same level as each other. Right now, this column here is 2 levels on top of this one. So if we can raise this column 2 blocks, then they'll be on the same level. So we can do that with this S piece. And now all I need to do is fill in the overhang either on this spot here because the T-shape is there, or it's on this spot here. So I'm going to do it with the O and fill in the rest of the layer, and that's our T-spin. With that, you've learned the basics of T-spinning. To practice this, just go into any game mode and pay special attention to the columns that are next to the well. Once the columns next to the well are at the same level, the rest should be really simple. It should be as simple as the first exercise in this video, where you had that cheese layer of 1,